There exist two types of work, in my opinion. It could be busy work, which doesn't bring anything except the appearance of busyness, and it could be real hard work, which gives you some fruits of your labor, which you can eat or convert into money and live sort of happily. So, what happens sometimes is that the imitation of busy work, or IBW, takes place. Why is it bad, you might ask? Well, there is a reason. In my case, when I imitate busy work, that normally happens in two instances. Either I don't like really what I do, for my money, for example, or if I'm trying to avoid some sort of real challenging task that will bring good results into my life or the life of others for this matter.
We have a lot to say about that. And I found these great quotes from the internet. So these are quotes I will be reading. I didn't come up with this, but they are great points. I think everyone needs to hear them. And these points go as follows. I'm going to be reading off of a screen now. Productivity is a measure of economic performance that compares the amount of goods and services produced, so an output, with the amount of input used to produce these goods and services. Now, this is your standard textbook definition. So productivity is measurable. The thing is, what I do, how can I measure it? If I try to measure it and there's no output, there's nothing good coming out of it, then it's busy work. That's where the next point comes in. I'm going to be reading another bullet point from the internet. Amazing point. Busy work is an activity that is undertaken to pass time and stay busy, but in and of itself has little or no actual value. Busy work occurs in situations where people may be required to be present but may lack the opportunities, skills, or need to do something more productive.
What can we do about it? There are approaches to solve this annoying issue of imitation of busy work, which, if you think about it, let's say you spend the entire day imitating busy work, right? Maybe it's Monday. Then you go ahead and then do this Wednesday, Friday. Maybe you are forced to do some kind of like real work on Tuesday and Thursday, for example. But if you think about it, 3 days a week, right, during this particular week X, you spent Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on doing some sort of imitation of real work, which doesn't get you fired, for example. It's enough for you to float in life, but at the same time, you don't really feel satisfied deep down your soul. And imagine this happens over the course of several weeks, several months, and so on. This is not really a good way to spend the precious time.
People may engage in busy work to maintain an appearance of activity in order to avoid criticism of being inactive or idle. And now this is where we start taking shots at the so-called internet influencers.
What we can do is just tell ourselves, okay, well, honestly, I'm just trying to imitate busy work, and this is not good for anybody. It's not good for me, and it's not good for my employer, for example. Okay? So, what are we going to do next? Let's try to take a look at some challenging tasks that we hate or are afraid of, and try to avoid this way. Okay? This is pretty natural to avoid something that is challenging and scary and anxiety-provoking. However, if I were to deal with those things which I'm trying to avoid, which I'm scared of, which make me anxious, I would consider them as an exercise. Exercise in what? Exercise in developing my mental toughness, right? So, for example, if I am trying to, let's say, go to a wrestling practice, right? Which I am scared of, I'm anxious about that I will strain or damage something, injure in my body, and so on. I will gas out, I will get a ringworm, portion, and so on. So there are many things that make me scared of a wrestling practice. However, I tell to myself, if I push through and I get to the practice, I will become a better individual after 2 hours of, let's say, training the sport of wrestling.
That sell the hustle culture, that sell that you have to grind every day, every night, every waking moment of your life.
That principle can be applied to many other instances in life when you need to deal with some sort of challenging task. Just consider this an exercise in developing your mental toughness, your discipline, and your ability in general to tackle various problems. It's good to avoid problems somehow, but oftentimes in life there will be problems presented to us on the plate that we need to eat from.
It can take me very minimal effort to wear some neat clothes, stand in front of a sports car, flex and copy paste the quote of success, and then say that you need to hustle every day and night, and here's my $500 course that you need to subscribe to because hustle every day. But then when you read it, you're like, it's full of poop. There's nothing of value because it's just a bunch of busy work.
And we need to make sure that this plate is clean, otherwise we will not feel satisfied with our life efforts.
I can think of a lot of social media influencers that say, hey man, I need to grind out every day. But then when you try to sit down and have a conversation, like when you're speaking to someone who claims they're busy all the time, like, hey man, what are you doing? Oh man, just busy, grinding out. You're like, it's going good. But there's no value. There's no productivity. And focusing on the previous point, where it says that they may lack opportunities or skills. Now that I see a lot in the soulless corporate desk job, where you have to stay in for these allotted time zones and you just have to look busy so your manager doesn't get upset. Now that happens a lot in this environment. So what happens is you can just sit at a computer, smash a keyboard, look busy, have a bunch of Excel sheets opened up, and you look busy. Are you productive? No.
What is the outcome, you might ask? Well, in my opinion, I feel like a failure if I do the IBW, imitation of busy work. IBW really can get you some good results, but not excellent ones. Maybe I'll be able to replant my plants, right? Maybe I'll be able to sort the rice into various meal containers. Maybe I'll be able to clean my car inside with a fiber cloth. These are good things, right? So they're fundamental, don't get me wrong. A clean car is good to have. A full meal container is good to have as well. To have plants in a good pot is also good. However, don't forget about big overarching tasks.
The next time you think to yourself, oh man, I have to grind out, I have to get all this work done, think of how you're able to measure its outcome, how you're able to find a metric and then say, okay, as this metric increases, that is a sign of productivity. If this metric is not increasing, what's going on there? What needs to change? What needs to be improved, removed? Maybe it's this entire process that is just not productive and we need to change it to something else. Think of it this way. Now when it comes to metrics, maybe you can measure it daily, maybe you can measure it weekly, monthly, yearly. Different works take different metrics. So finding out that step creates and opens a door where you're able to envision and be precise about everything you do. Instead of opening up a laptop and reading 50 articles every day and reading 50 self-improvement books every day and going, oh man, I just read this self-improvement book and I just listened to this self-improvement podcast, and you know what, while I'm going on my walks, I just have all these different books and podcasts on. But then what happens afterwards? You still doing the same thing? Did you say you were gonna change but then didn't change?
Yes, at times it is a good idea to concentrate on small yet fundamental tasks. Without them, accomplishment of big tasks will be having some impediments, right? So let's say you need to prepare for some sort of exam, pass this exam, and at the same time you also need to clean your car, you need to sweep your floors, you need to meal prep, right? Once you get the meal prep and sweeping the floors and cleaning your car out of the way, you might as well have your mind focused exactly and solely on the preparation for a particular exam, for example. So, the bottom line is that you will feel better once you finally attack those challenging tasks.
If you just open up your laptop every day and you go, well, I'm going to read 50 articles about business and investing in the stock market, but you do nothing, what are you wasting that time with busy work for? Versus if you actually start practicing, if you seek out mentors, if you seek out people who are winners in that field, and then learn from them, to actually take and implement their lessons, now you are being productive rather than just keeping busy. So think about that next time you have to grind and hustle out and get all this work done. Be productive, not busy.
First of all, you will feel like the proverbial weight is off your shoulders. And then, all of a sudden, you can have a little bit more hedonia in your life, right? You can enjoy the movie, you can enjoy a nice meal with friends, you can enjoy some sort of exciting adventure in your garden or in the city park, things like that. So those, so to say, rewards will feel much more satisfying and rewarding. Okay, so then you will also feel the sense of accomplishment. Yeah, I accomplished something, now I'm a bigger person than I used to be, and I acquired some sort of points of my character development. So this in turn will fuel you to do bigger, better things, which are going to appear sooner or later on your list. Get after those challenging things, complete them, and you will feel better. The entire world will brighten up in front of you, and you will be able to accomplish so much more, and maybe you'll be able to not only get rid of the proverbial mountain on your shoulders, but also you'll be able to move those mountains to various locations. You can also think about building new mountains from which the humanity will have a tremendous benefit. Thank you.
In a world where the majority of people pretend to be busy and just show you how busy they are, be one of the few that stands out and speaks with results. Keep hacking the life.